Yo, so we are back from the episode of the Business and Marketing Podcast. That's correct, isn't it? Business and Marketing Podcast, Peter?
Marketing and Business Show.
Marketing
Business Show.
Business Show.
I always mix it up.
Well, we'll go with it anyway. It's the same
Yes,
concept, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, so welcome back. Alex here. I'm with Peter, my trusty co-host, who is actually organising everything and usually introduces everything. But we've switched tables today, and I've said, look, I'm taking the lead today. I'm introducing everything. I'm leading the podcast. Well, me.
Let's just pause that. We came on to the show, folks. I came on to this call, right? 9:00 at night. Alice goes, do you have a phone with you? And I says, I do. And he says, can we just use that? Because, Riverside, it just won't record in good quality. I'm like, Alex, what do you want? And he's like, well, look at it. It just says 720p here. I was like, all right, here. Do you want 1080p? Do you want 4K? So hopefully the quality is sufficient for Mr. Alex Aloco.
Yeah, so we want to basically try and leverage our time a bit and use this podcast to upload to YouTube as well. So you guys can actually see and enjoy our lovely faces as well as listen to us.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we're gonna just jump straight into today's episode, and we're gonna try and keep this as short as possible. And we want to talk about some common myths about Amazon FBA, because a lot of people that look at it as a good opportunity, or they think it's a good opportunity, but they've no idea what it entails. People have probably told them all sorts of things about it, nightmare stories, blah, blah, blah. So we've broken down this episode into 5 myths, and we're just going to jump straight into them. So myth 1, Peter, do you want to take this one? And it is basically myth 1, Amazon FBA is too complex to understand. Is that true or false?
That is false. Amazon FBA is certainly not too complex to understand, right? Now, granted, there's a lot in Amazon FBA, but the fact is, if I can understand it, if Alice can understand it, you can understand it, right? We all started with zero knowledge of this. Like, I remember thinking that Amazon was just for selling books. Honestly, about 6 or 7 years ago, I thought Amazon was only for selling books. And then I realized, hold on, you can actually sell other stuff on Amazon. And I started one day studying it. And now I have a fair idea of quite large parts of it. But no, definitely not. You can learn this. You won't learn it overnight, but you will learn it if you take your time, if you study it into small little pieces and just work along. Eventually you'll wake up one day and you'll be like, I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah. There was a quote I heard on another podcast earlier, and you know how everyone's always saying you should treat things like a marathon and not a sprint? This guy actually said, in whatever you're doing, you like, say, for example, we're working on starting an Amazon FBA business. This guy actually said, what about if you sprinted and then rested, and then you built up a marathon of sprints, rather than thinking about, because people seem to think that if you sprint, you're going to burn out. But what about if you broke that down into learning how to, understand and learn a skill like selling on Amazon, and you broke it down into little mini sprints until you actually built yourself a huge marathon, and you'd be able to look at the progress you've made. Because I don't know about you, but for me, I like working in super short sprints, like half an hour sprints, and I go walk away and refresh my mind. I'm not someone who can sit for hours so focused on a task. And I feel Amazon's the same. There is a lot of moving parts to it, and it can feel a little bit overwhelming to start with. But the one good thing I do like about Amazon is that they make it super step-by-step for you to get started and actually start making money on the platform. Because at the end of the day, if Amazon make money, we make money. And if we make money, Amazon make money. So it's almost in their interest to make it as simple as possible to get as close as they can to making money as fast as possible. And all you have to do is literally follow the steps that Amazon give you, and you are off to the races. So I think the myth, being too complex to understand, is kind of squashed.
Absolutely. Now, you do need to, ideally you need someone or some model to follow. I will be honest, just because, jumping in day one and just say, I'm just going to do Amazon, you know what? You can make mistakes, right? But if you're following a process, what we teach, what others teach, and what others share, you will be fine. And just take it one small piece at a time, as you said, Alex. Don't panic. I've seen people and they're like, oh, this has all gone wrong. It's like, no, calm down. Okay, what's gone wrong? Okay, let's just fix that. Fix it. We move on. And it's like always, I do laugh, it's near like with anything new, right? You'll run into problems, right? But once you run into that problem and you solve it, it'll go fine for a while and then be another problem. But the reality is that eventually you will actually understand, you won't make those mistakes again, and you'll actually understand the entire process. But it just takes time. but absolutely fine.
Okay,
Fine.
let's move to the let's go on to the second
busted.
myth. Let's go on to the second myth. So myth number 2: it's possible to become an overnight millionaire. What do you think to that one?
Hasn't happened for me yet. Maybe the lotto. You could be an overnight millionaire, possibly.
I mean, it's probably happened very, very few times to people where they've either had outside influence, like a lot of traffic, a lot of money to push traffic to Amazon. But for the everyday person like you and me or third-party sellers, it is a bit of a myth. Like you're not going to become an overnight millionaire selling on Amazon. Even on the internet, it's going to be a push. So, I mean, you can become a millionaire for sure, but not overnight. We have to kind of understand that we're building a long-term business here. So I think when a lot of people get into this game, they have to make a decision like, okay, am I getting into Amazon FBA because I want to start this as a hobby? Or am I building like a long-term asset, like a sustainable asset that's going to keep delivering for years to come? Because if it's the latter, then 100% you can literally reach whatever financial goals you have. But it's not going to magically happen overnight.
So that's kind of like compounding, Alex. Like, we're aiming for compounding our Amazon business to actually grow. Whereas like the opposite of that is just expecting just to put something live and it just to sell 1 million overnight, which isn't going to happen, to be honest. We just need to put that straight out there. It's going to be a business that's going to take time to grow. It's going to be something that you're going to invest in, both in what we said at the beginning, in learning, but also in terms of your product. You put in a product, you invest in the product then sells, you then reorder the product, it sells some more. You hopefully have more money than you put in originally, and you can reinvest that into other products or into that product. And it's just something that just, But if it grows at the same time every order, the amount you gain will grow, but it just will take time. So I like to say it's a real compound business, Amazon, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's like a hockey stick, isn't it? I mean, it's it can be quite slow growth, but the slow growth is actually where you're building momentum. And then suddenly you look back and you're like, Christ, where did that spurt of growth come from? That's kind of what we're going through now. Like, I mean, we've obviously taught students now and teach students how to achieve success on Amazon in like 90 days. Like we can take someone from a complete beginner with no experience to finding a profitable product and getting it selling within 90 days. I'm fairly confident with that. Or maybe a little bit, less than 100 days.
It depends. It's different. It's different for every person, Alex. Like some people, they come in, they find their product within 2-3 weeks, they bring it in, it comes in fast, they start selling. Other people, it takes a bit longer. But I always tell someone like that's there and they're like, oh, should it take this long? I'm like, or this fast or this long? I'm like, everyone's different and just take your time. It will happen for you. Don't rush it. Get the right product.
100%. So let's move on to the next myth, which is there's a lot of people that think Amazon is too overcrowded and there are already too many sellers on the platform. Now, I'll start by saying that is kind of correct. So there are, there's new sellers coming onto the platform all the time. So the straight answer you would then say is, well, isn't it getting too overly saturated? And should if I jump in, am I just going to be in this sea of noise? But at the same time, what you have to remember is Amazon is growing at the same time of how many people are on the platform buying, and there are literally hundreds of millions of people who are actively subscribed to Amazon's Prime service. So more sellers, more buyers, it kind of like levels out, if that makes sense. So I don't think it's a case of being too oversaturated. What do you think?
I don't think so. Now, the reality is there's some markets within Amazon that you could say, yeah, that's completely oversaturated. It's not something you should be touching. But by and large, no, there's always opportunity because you said yourself, like we can see the data. We can see the search volume, the traffic that's coming into Amazon to buy these products. These people with intent. They come onto Amazon, they type in whatever they're looking for, standing desk, for example. They want to more or less buy a standing desk. And if you put a good offer in front of those people, even if there is 100 other offers, you know what? You're going to make sales. That's the way I kind of try and look at it. But yeah, some markets I would avoid, but there's a lot of markets there where there's still plenty of opportunity. So the untrained eye would look at it and say, no, there's no opportunity there. But the eye that knows what to look for will see gold buried inside those listings.
100%. That's what we're very good at digging out.
Well, yeah, I'd like to think so.
Okay, let's move swiftly on to the next myth. So, myth number 4, you can only sell by going with the lowest prices. This is basically saying or suggesting that the only way to win on Amazon is to undercut everybody else and sell at the lowest prices. What do you think to that one?
Um, absolutely not. Okay, so some people compete on price, right? So again, as I said, it's the Walmart, stack it high, sell it low, right? And that's a great model. It does work. It has its place. Um, but I actually don't really want to do that model on Amazon because I think it is hard work, but it takes the same effort to sell a product at a lower price as it does to sell at a higher price. And now you can't just come in there and sell at a higher price than a lower of a same item that's already lower on Amazon, unless you make some changes, right? So those changes could be, you could be utilizing FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon, so really fast shipping, right? For example, versus someone that's doing FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant. Consumers don't really want fulfilled by merchant. You could be improving the listing copy. The copy could be rubbish that's already up there. You'd be doing better copy. It could be better images. It could be infographics. It could be A plus content, which is again just nice creatives, nice imagery. It could be you're just utilizing PPC better, or something that we're really pushing a lot now. We're starting to see a lot of, like, we've been analyzing like really successful listings on Amazon, right? Like the ones that are doing, 1,000 plus per month, 500-600 plus per month, and 2,000-3,000 and onwards, right up there to 30-40,000. And what we've seen is that the listings that do the best have focused on branding. And branding is something that, myself and Alex, we used to not really give too much clout to. We considered branding as something like, just get a name, stick it up there. It's great. We can now do A plus content because we're a brand, right? But that's grand. But it means ultimately when you're finished in 3-5 years time, you probably have nothing to sell because you don't have any there's no real connection there with a brand of products. But also for the consumer shopping on Amazon, they're not seeing the brand. Like, they're not connecting with the brand. So if we can really do a better job of showing and telling that brand story on the listing in the hero image, which is like the image you see when you're browsing Amazon, if we can do that, we can improve all that, we will get more conversions, and Amazon will reward that because they'll say, oh, hold on a minute, this listing is outperforming similar listings. And Amazon's in this to make money as well, like, because they make money off their referral fee, right? So they're going to show our product to more people organically even, and we're going to get more sales. So it's kind of like, and that thing kind of compounds. So that kind of, it reinforces itself until suddenly you're selling, a lot more units than you would be if you didn't bother with branding at all.
100%, 100%. And you just hit the nail on the head with that one. I don't think I need to add anything to it.
No.
Myth number 5. So this is the final myth we're going to talk about. And this is, people think you have to invent a new product to succeed on Amazon. And I'm just going to come and say that's absolutely false. Like, I mean, Peter, just give the guys like a super high level answer as to like how we find products to sell on Amazon, because we are definitely not inventing something new. Well, to an extent, we are inventing something new, but it's not the fact we are inventing a new product as per se.
So yeah, 100%. We're not building a new product, but we are building a better experience for the customer. I think that'd be the best way to describe it, right? And that can be through branding, and that can be through fulfillment, and that can be through any other means at our disposal. But for us to find a product, what we like to do is we like to explore the products that are selling well on Amazon, right? And we like to find niches, like, so it's like groups of products, right? So like a search term, say for example, I'm just going to pick ice bath, right? I haven't looked up ice bath, so I don't know. And maybe that's probably not something. Ice tub might be something you could sell on Amazon because you could make it smaller. And we would look at that market and we would say, hold on, is anyone, like, are these selling well, first of all? Okay, yes, they're selling well. Okay, and this is very high level. They're selling well. I'm happy with that. Okay, there's demand here. There's good search volume. There's good sales. So there's a low BSR. There's high monthly sales of these items. There's not too much competition, right? But we're not afraid of competition, but there's not too much. Okay, do they have good listings? Do they have good branding? And if we can see that they don't have good listings and they don't have good brand, we're like, okay, so we can come in here and we can improve this with maybe going FBA. We can improve this by creating a better imagery, better infographics, better branding, better copy, better advertisement possibly, and maybe better product in terms of like adding some nice bonus items that are selling well in this niche, but we're bundling them together. If we do all that, right, suddenly, and then also maybe price, we can also do a little bit on price. If we do all that, like, what is the likelihood we won't make sales? It's very slim. I think that probably describes exactly what we do at a high level.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and guys, just remember, like, we're never trying to come into a market and take all the sales. It'd be great if we did, but at the same time, we're never trying to focus on that, right? We're looking for markets that have high demand already and low-ish competition. I mean, competition is something we've kind of changed our theory on a little bit because of this branding thing. Whereas we used to look for niches and markets where there was, hardly anyone, if nobody, selling a specific type of product, and we could come in and sell that. And that was a lot harder to initially find products to sell. Whereas now what we're saying is, well, if we can come into a market and clearly see that none of these competitors have gone all in on branding, that is a massive opportunity for us to come and leverage. And we're never saying, let's go and try and take over this market, because if there's high demand, we can share the sales between multiple sellers. Fantastic. If we can take the majority of those sales, I'm not going to complain. But, we're not looking to do that. And this is kind of like quite relaxing for people to come in who want to start selling on Amazon, because they think they have to invent something new. They have to change the world. They have to reinvent the wheel. We're going the complete opposite way and saying, no, not at all. You just have to create a better customer experience. And we literally, that's what we've been focused on in the last 6 months, I think, properly, in a slightly different way than we used to. And I feel it's paying off dividends massively.
Absolutely. And it's only going to pay off more as more products come on stream that are adapting this model. Like, we have about, between us and the products we've partnered with people on, we probably have, I don't know, it could be 13, 15 products going live in the next 2-3 months. And we're investing heavily on creatives for every one of them.
I mean, we're pretty much always at the point where we've got more products than money to invest into, which is where Product Launchpad came in, which is where we partner with people on products and brands. But we can literally come into literally any market now and find opportunities. The competition is weak in it here. Literally, it's super weak.
That's something that we didn't actually say that on this podcast, but the competition is weak, and you just need to know the levers to pull to basically take the traffic away from the weak and put it to the strong. And do you know what? We shouldn't be. I was thinking about this the other day, Alex, and I was thinking, we shouldn't be afraid of competition. Like, flip it. Like, competition is actually a good thing. It pushes us forward. Can you imagine if there was no competition on Amazon? Like, the listings would be terrible, and the offers would be terrible, and the prices would be high.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel people get scared by that, and they think that somebody else is already selling that type of product that fulfills that function. They're like, well, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to do that. People are already buying that. It's like, no, like, a lot of the times people buy into a brand. Like, why do you buy Nike shoes over Adidas shoes? Or why do you buy Nike shoes over the shoes you can go and get down at Walmart or wherever you live? It's because of branding. You buy into the brand. And we're not always saying as well, like, you should build like this, aim to build this huge, massive, massive global brand. But we're just saying, if you adopt that thinking and apply it to your Amazon products, you can then have an asset that you are building for months, if not years to come, that is a sellable asset. So if you want to sell it, you can.
And also, I think, it's worth pointing out, like, what's that 80-20 rule? So, like, 20% of your actions give you 80% of your results, right? And I think, and I believe strongly, like, this branding that we're talking about here, that will give you 80% of your results if you get this right. It'll be interesting to apply it. Like, so far, from what I've seen and from what we've done, it's very much true. But it'll be just very interesting to see as that beds in, like, what that can do. And if that turns out to be true, which I have no doubt, because the people that are very successful in Amazon are doing it and they're going all in on it. If that turns out to be true, that could make your business, like, 4-5 times bigger. 4 times bigger, isn't it? Am I doing maths right? But just much bigger than what it otherwise would be. So that's pretty neat.
Yep. So that said, guys, there will be links around this podcast or video wherever you're watching it as to how you can get more info on getting started with Amazon, all the stuff we're up to, and some free training and stuff. That's cool.
Yep.
And hope you guys enjoyed us doing some myth busting today. And I guess we'll be back with another podcast very soon.
very, very soon, folks. Take care and good night.
Ta-ra, bye.